A very good evening to you tuned into UBC TV. Welcome to News Tonight, this Wednesday, the 25th of February, 2026. Let's start with a look at the headlines as we start News Tonight. Prime Minister Nabanja makes diplomatic missions best in Nairobi. Park questions Director General over 42 billion Uganda shillings budget allocation. 1-year-old toddler killed by a stray bullet in Chiboga prison shooting. While police arrests over 300 suspects in operations to crack down on crime and criminals in Kampala. It's me, Michael Jordan Lukomwa. Elizabeth Nakakoni joins me for sign language interpretation, and this is what we have for you tonight. Prime Minister Robin Nabanja has held a high-level engagement with diplomatic missions and development institutions based in Nairobi but serving Uganda, urging them to establish offices in Kampala. Nabanja made the remarks today while addressing ambassadors and heads of UN agencies and institutions at the Serena Hotel in Nairobi.
The Prime Minister is leading a Ugandan delegation to Nairobi that includes ministers, heads of government agencies and technical staff from the Office of the Prime Minister. Nabanja asked the diplomatic missions and development institutions to consider the benefits of opening embassy and representative offices in Kampala instead of operating from Nairobi.
We request that you open embassies and high commissions in Kampala so that we foster better collaboration and strengthen partnerships between our two countries. Currently, we believe that supervision of programs supported by our governments is quite costly and inefficient when you operate from outside Uganda.
Nabanja briefed the conference on Uganda's ambitious 10-fold development plan and called upon partners to invest in the country, noting that achieving this vision requires joint efforts from all development stakeholders.
To achieve the above objectives, the government of Uganda intends to implement a number of transformative projects and programs such as power generation. Currently, Uganda has a total of 2,052 megawatts. So we need cheap power.
The Director General of the Uganda Investment Authority, Robert Mukiza, highlighted Uganda's competitive advantages over other countries in attracting investment and appealed to diplomats to prioritize investing in Uganda for sustainable returns.
Ensure that as an investor, you concentrate on bringing money to our country, concentrate on technology transfer, concentrate on investing. Let the one-stop center of the Uganda Investment Authority be those feet. You get your work permit in one place, you get the certifications maybe from the Bureau of Standards in one place.
The State Minister for Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Amos Lugolobi, the State Minister for Internal Affairs, David Mohozi, and the State Minister for Foreign Affairs, Okello Oryem, explained to the diplomats and development institutions why Uganda remains one of the best investment destinations in Africa.
Today is a fresh opportunity for those of you who are not credited in Uganda.
I assure you from the onset that Uganda is safe, secure, and durably peaceful. So you can make returns from your investment.
Emphasis on sectors where Uganda has a competitive advantage in manufacturing. We have a competitive advantage in minerals, as I mentioned, and many other areas in agriculture. Nobody can compete with us.
The Uganda Prison Services are still hunting down for Wada Anguyo Moses, who opened fire on his supervisors, killing 3 of them, and in the scuffle, a 1-year toddler was injured by a bullet and later died. Frank Baine, the prison spokesperson, says that investigations are still ongoing. Through preliminary investigations reveal that the shooting arose when one of the supervisors cautioned Moses about using his phone while on duty at his post.
By prison warder Anguyo Moses in Kiboga prisons will be laid to rest on the 26th of February 2026 at their respective ancestral homes. Preliminary findings show that the incident occurred after supervisors had cautioned Anguyo Moses regarding using his cell phone while on duty. According to the Uganda Prison Services spokesperson, Frank Baine, investigations are ongoing to ascertain whether Anguyo Moses was mentally stable.
I remember when I issued the statement, the kid, I didn't mention about the kid because I was giving a statement on those who had died. And but unfortunately, the kid, who is the 1-year-old boy, son of the OC, that night, that same night, also succumbed to the bullet injury. So now we have 4 people who are going to be buried tomorrow. The ASP deputy is going to be buried in Rwampara. The wife to the OC and the kid, they are buried in Kabare, and the principal officer will be buried in Chisoro. And burial will all be tomorrow. Well, our team is not yet back. You know, investigation does not take 3, 4, 5 hours. The team is still down there. Of course, it's stabilizing many things. To lose 3 people in a station is not something small. But we hope when they come back, they will make a report. Like I said, the preliminary indication was that this was the staff deliberately using a phone when he was on duty with a gun. When the OC tried to put him to order, instead of following the orders, he decided to open fire. Now, what goes beyond that, that one will be found out by the team that is on the ground. But you don't rule out people have mental issues. When we are listening and watching in the write-ups, very many people have mental issues, but they are not easily detected until they erupt. So we shall find out if that was just a trigger of something that was ongoing, or if it was. Anyway, I don't want to speculate, because speculating doesn't pay. You might speculate and find you have the wrong speculation at the end of the day. So we shall have to be patient, wait for the team to come back, then we check their report.
Police continues with operations to disrupt criminal elements within the Kampala metropolitan area. Over 300 suspects have been arrested in possession of narcotics and other substances. Superintendent of Police Rachel Kawala says that the suspects connected to criminal gangs have been screened and will appear before courts of law.
Disruptive operations are still ongoing. During the operations that were carried out on the 24th of this month, in the night, we arrested over 300 plus suspects. These have been charged charges of being in possession of narcotics and a public nuisance. And the suspects will be appearing before court anytime from now. We appeal to the public to remain vigilant as our disruptive operations are still ongoing. That's why they are called suspects, and we leave that to courts of law. Yes, but our operations are still ongoing in a bid to ensure that crime is down. However, we appeal to the public to remain vigilant, report suspicious persons, avoid lone movements during the night, and also at all times try to avoid picking any border you find. You try to move with a border person that you trust, and also try to exercise neighborhood watch. Yes, also report to the police at all times in case of any issues, in case of any doubts, in case of any suspicions.
Jimmy Akena, president of the Uganda People's Congress, UPC, has expressed concern over the upcoming race for the Speaker of Parliament, saying that the country needs a leader who genuinely understands the law and the needs of the citizenry. While addressing the media at the party headquarters in Kampala, Akena emphasized that the office of the Speaker is critical and requires competence, integrity, and a firm grasp of constitutional principles. He clarified that UPC has not yet endorsed any candidate for the position, noting that the party is still consulting internally to determine who best fits the role. Akena also criticized the National Resistance Movement government for what he described as prolonged stay in power, arguing that after nearly 4 decades in leadership, it has failed to adequately invest in public universities. He said that insufficient staffing in these institutions undermines the country's ability to train and prepare a generation capable of shaping sound national policies.
This is wishful thinking, but Uganda can get a parliament with a speaker who understands the role and the importance of a speaker of the parliament of the National Assembly of Uganda, where there's an opportunity where the citizens of Uganda should have their voices heard. Their concerns should be dealt with. But unfortunately, of recent times, we've had many members of parliament and leaders in parliament who are there as self-seekers, out to grab for themselves. No concern about the citizens who are suffering day and night. Several of the public universities are understaffed. As UPC, I am shocked. I'm disappointed. Your greatest asset is the people. The higher institutions are sharpening your greatest asset, that they'll be able to contribute more to the society. And we're still limping around after 40 years in power, understaffed. And those kids coming out are going to be competing with a kid from China. We saw it during COVID. The world shrank. People are able to do things online. And we're not preparing our children for tomorrow. And we expect to compete. Education system, does it make our children productive? You know, kids are going into primary one, majority of them are going to remain in the village, but what have you taught them of how to remain in the village? How productive are they going to remain in the village? How productive are they going to be? They're half-baked in English, half-baked in maths, and they cannot farm. Who's failing who? That's the conversation I want. As UPC, let's talk about what will affect people's lives. People who labor, who struggle, but the interest rates are not working for them. That's what you talk about.
UPC Party President Jimmy Akena. The Undersecretary of the Ministry of Kampala Metropolitan Affairs, Monica Edemachu, has updated members of Parliament on the need to enforce trade order in the city. This follows various concerns by a section of members of Parliament sitting on the Public Accounts Committee who wanted to understand the fate of the vendors. The committee, chaired by Deputy Chair Goret Namuga, claimed that KCCA did not improvise alternatives for the vendors.
As Public Accounts Committee Central continues to scrutinize the report of the Auditor General for the financial year 2024-2025, the Undersecretary, Minister of Kampala Metropolitan Affairs, Monica Edemachu, was tasked to avail the committee with an update.
It's true. One of the challenges that we have realized in Metropolitan is the issue of inadequate workspaces for the unemployed youth, women, and economic clusters. And we are creating workspaces, and one of the areas that has been focused is Kampala Capital City Authority.
The MPs wanted to understand the available alternatives.
Why did you hurry to remove them from the roads before you complete on the projects that, because this was part of your strategic plan?
We very much appreciate the effort to put the city to sanity and moving the hawkers away from the streets. But the way you're doing it seems not to be coordinated. You have already chased them away, but you're planning, you're designing the market for Safi. It has an attachment to one's well-being. So I want to learn from you on how you are managing the grievances that have arose out of the decision that you took. I believe in 2 or 3 years' time, we should really have some kind of improvement.
These cite poor management of various projects in the city, including delayed road constructions, among others.
Salama Road is a road which has a serious issue with the ambulances going to Chirudu. I am happy for the time so far now. We have not, maybe I've not seen accidents as I use it, but the road is not marked. How do we make a road which is not marked? The work was so beautiful, people were crying, but up to now, work stalled. What is the problem?
It is true, in some of the areas there might have been unnecessary delays. Chair, we have taken note of that. I've personally picked interest. I'll move to Salama Road to see what problem is there, why the delay, such that we fast track areas where there are challenges.
By press time, the committee had prolonged interactions with the ministry officials to cement permanent solutions to the vendors. Lydia Chomkama and Gloria Guitabinji, Parliament.
Still in Parliament, the Directorate of Government Analytical Laboratory is under scrutiny after failing to clearly account for 42 billion shillings allocated for the financial year that ended 2025. According to the Auditor General's report, the institution could not provide a clear breakdown of how the funds were utilized, despite grappling with case backlogs, operational challenges, and limited workflow, particularly in the DNA division. The Vice Chairperson of the Parliamentary Public Accounts Committee has urged the Directorate to increase public awareness of its services to ensure citizens benefit from the body's mandate.
The Directorate of Government Analytical Laboratory, under the Ministry of Internal Affairs, provides forensic and scientific analytical services to support justice, law enforcement, and public safety. Its core functions include DNA testing, toxicology, crime scene investigations, such as arson and acid attacks, and food and drug quality verification. The Directorate's accounting officer and technical officials appeared before Parliament's Public Accounts Committee to respond to queries raised in the Auditor General's 2025 report regarding their budget performance.
That is page 22.
Committee members expressed concern over what they described as limited visibility of the Directorate's work, saying the institution appears to operate in the dark and needs to better publicize its services.
Respond to the query of insufficient workflow.
For the financial year ended 2025, the Directorate received a 100% budget allocation, totaling 42 billion shillings. However, when asked to provide accountability and clear expenditure breakdown, officials struggled to offer satisfactory explanations.
In the planning process were not clear enough
on a
for the assessment.
On a construction.
I think that was just one of them made.
Oh, please be clear on what you are telling us. For us, we are here for you to account for the money that you received. So if you received 42 billion and we cannot assess on how you used the 34, close to 35, then, I mean, is this an accountability committee or you have come to a laboratory? For us, we are not a laboratory.
The accounting officer, Kefa Kuchana, told the committee the Directorate is working towards establishing a national DNA data bank among 7 key planned outputs aimed at service delivery.
It is 34.2 billion. One of the biggest of the list of the items which was related to the DNA building is one of them, because that was what constitutes.
But how could the auditor fail to assess the DNA building? That is something that is very clear. And
now, that big component of 34 should be interesting to all of us here and yourself exclusive. So that is where you cannot miss out the components involved in the 34, because that is actually the whole budget.
Because that's all we needed to look at, your work plan, And what is there to assess you're making life difficult is whether we just want to confirm whether actually your indicators were smart or not.
Committee members also raised concern over a growing case backlog at the laboratory. Over 400 cases remain pending, affecting timely delivery of justice to Ugandans.
The main thing is the Auditor General is concerned about the lack of space, adequate space. And one of the issues is that only one analyst is able to do work at a time.
As a result, the GAL continues to rely solely on case-by-case DNA analysis without national platform to link DNA evidence across cases, regions, and other agencies.
And we have not failed, as indicated by Honorable, but we get the challenges of the inflow of the finances towards this project.
Kuchana attributed the backlog to an influx in submissions, citing that the laboratory receives between 400 to 500 cases weekly.
We started from 5,000. Through years, we have been working on it, following our case backlog reduction strategy, where we reduce what is there as the case backlog, we work on the new cases as they come in.
Despite citing funding constraints, the committee maintained that it could not recommend increased funding without proper accountability for the funds already released.
So what plans do you have to avoid where you're heading to? It has not been getting attention from government, but if there are corrections that are coming, let us speak the recommendations giving us if he's telling us the truth.
Rebecca Nantongo, Gloria Gutabinji, Parliament.
And from Parliament, we will take a very short break. Please keep it with us at UBC News Tonight.
So, Muchara.
Yes, Daddy.
You know the children are going back to school and things are a bit tight. Huh? For now, why don't you take half of the fees to junior school, and for the school van contribution, we shall pay later. Huh?
Daddy, why don't we pay using MTN Momo, where we stand a chance of winning school fees for a whole year and more? By the way, you can also apply for a school fees loan, and also participating schools can win a school van.
That's right! Win school fees for a whole year and more. Get Momo goodies and a school van for participating schools. You can also apply for a school fees loan. Simply dial *165*80# or use the Momo app.
It's back, bigger, and with more business opportunities. It's the Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo, Poate 2026, Uganda's flagship tourism event. Poate 2026 will take place from the 21st to the 23rd of May 2026 at the Speak Resort Convention Center, Munyonyo, under the theme Wanderlust. It's your time to thrive. Yes, it's your time to tap into Uganda's renewed optimism and tourism growth. Tourism stakeholders, travel trade partners, and tourism enthusiasts will be part of the Poate 2026. Come and network with like-minded people and unlock new business opportunities. To participate, register at www.poate.co.ug. Poate 2026 is brought to you by Uganda Tourism Board and partners.
We thank you so much for watching. Welcome back from the break. Now, continuing, the Uganda Amnesty Commission has appealed to all rebel leaders, groups and combatants to drop their guns and come back home as they await to be offered security and integration once they march back from the bushes. This assurance has been given by the chairperson of the Amnesty Commission, Justice Peter Onega, during a Wednesday media brief in Kampala.
In the early 2000s, the government of Uganda established the Amnesty Commission to operate under the Ministry of Internal Affairs with the main purpose of arbitrating the government and the combatants.
That if they come back home, they are not going to be prosecuted.
Since then, 28,340 combatants have been in position to receive government's pardon.
Such person who has got a certificate, who has been given amnesty, is no longer liable for prosecution.
The commission, led by the former High Court of Uganda Justice Peter Onega, says most of the recipients are those who had picked up arms against the legitimate government of Uganda.
Fighting rebellion is more difficult than persuading somebody to come out and leave rebellion.
During a media brief at Uganda Media Center in Kampala, the commission reveals that most of the offenders had in the first case been persuaded to the bush by various factors, including falsehoods.
If you take the Lord's Resistance Army of Coin, there is no basic reason they've come up with really to say that we are in the bush, we are fighting the government because of this.
According to the chairperson, the Lord's Resistance Army, Allied Democratic Force, among others, have already benefited from this initiative.
West Nile Bank Front, which had bases mainly from the DRC and Sudan through West Nile region, comes second with 6,580 former combatants who have embraced amnesty.
However, the commission reports about some unfinished work in line with persuading other combatants and forces to silence the gun, which among others includes limited budget allocations and stigmatization of returnees.
Not all insurgents have been demobilized. Some members of the LRA and ADF are still at large, although a lot of effort is being made to bring them back home.
For the big shots like Jamil Mukulu and Joseph Coyne, the commission says the government of Uganda has never lost hope that these two gentlemen can one day surrender to government.
For Jamil Mukulu, we cannot say he has been accepted from amnesty. We cannot say he has not been given amnesty. But at the moment he's in jail. There is a likelihood that when he comes out of the jail, his application for amnesty can be considered.
The commission has therefore sent an olive branch to those sons and daughters of Uganda who are still on the run to come back home with an assurance of no witch hunts.
Fighting has not helped. We want to stop fighting. We want peace in the country so that we can move forward together.
And therefore, if there is anyone willing to negotiate with the government of Uganda, they have been advised to hand in themselves to the nearby Uganda police and army stations, diplomatic missions, courts of law, among others.
You just go quietly, nobody follows you, nobody knows, and say, please, I've been this and that, I want to surrender. And you will be received.
Robert Onyango, UBC News.
Speaker of Parliament Annette Anita Mong has this evening hosted hundreds of Muslims for an iftar dinner. The Speaker and her family were joined by hundreds of members of Parliament, business community, among others, for the dinner.
Chirumira from Katikam. Lord Speaker, we also have the mayor of this place. It is risky not to recognize him. Salimu. On Saturday, I'll highlight her contribution to the Muslim community and why she should be re-elected as the Speaker of Parliament. On Saturday, I'll do so, inshallah. But those of you who are here, Temukola Era, I think in her, we have the right choice.
Masaka City, Commander 001, NRM Stock Empia. I take this opportunity to declare in the name of the Almighty Allah that Right Honorable Speaker Annette Mong will be the Speaker of the 12th Parliament.
Allahu Akbar.
Allah
ilaha illallah. Allahu
Thank you
Akbar.
so much.
Let us use this moment to, this period of Ramadan, to forgive each other. Please forgive, because being forgiven is not within your control, but forgiving is within your control. So you can forgive everybody who could have hurt you knowingly or unknowingly, and you leave it to the other person whether to forgive you or not. Let us be kind. There are people who need support. If you have something extra the Sheikh has told us that whatever good you do during this month of Ramadan, the reward is multiplied so many times. We need to take advantage of this period to give out as much as we can for those who need support.
UBC News Tonight. Uganda Broadcasting Corporation UBC has sponsored the National Quran competitions, drawing Muslim participants from across the country with strong representation from various schools. Speaking about UBC's commitment to the initiative, the head of radio at UBC, Doreen Ndezi, reaffirmed the corporation's dedication to supporting programs that promote faith, unity and talent development. Hajat Hadija Namiaro, who officiated as a chief guest at the opening, commended UBC for the continued collaboration with the Muslim community.
UBC has again backed the national Quran competitions, which have brought together more than 200 Muslim participants from different schools across Uganda. Some of the contestants shared their experiences, reflecting on their journey and progress in the competition.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay. Finals. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Muhammad Ziwa Umar. I learned from King Islamic Junior School. I came here to compete and win prizes. Accept myself in the winners, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
The event was graced by several prominent leaders who underscored its significance. Among those in attendance were the chairperson of the online national chairman, Hajat Hadija Namiaro, Abbas Nadri from the Embassy of Iran, and the deputy managing director of UBC. They delivered remarks highlighting the importance of nurturing young talent and strengthening community values through such initiatives.
Bahajat, Nirahaj, Abato. Saba Allah batere mu bwangu n'abatesitesi abakuumye ekintu kino nga kiriki nga kitambula tujja kubeera nga naffe tubakwasizaako.
We believe national development, Uganda's national development, will not happen unless we are grounded in religion. And this recitation for us is important because when I see the young boys and girls who are here, who love their religion, our national development will not have value unless it's grounded in our religion, because our faith is going to be critical in how we deliver this national development agenda.
The head of radio, Doreen Ndezi, retaliated the corporation's unwavering commitment to supporting the Quran competitions. She also acknowledged the role of the Embassy of Iran in facilitating participation in similar events and fostering closer ties within the Muslim community.
We budget for such activities within our budgets, annual budgets, and we have people who support us in putting off this Quran recitation, especially the Muslim community in this country, like the Iranian embassy in Uganda has really moved with us for a long time, and others. But it's not necessarily emphasizing the costs, but our interest is more in the input, the impact of such a program on modeling the people of Uganda, especially like the youth. And our interest is more on what do we benefit as Ugandans.
Government is set to tighten licensing procedures for labor exporting companies following the case of Vicky Ajok, who was sentenced to death in Syria after reportedly pleading guilty to the murder of her employer. State Minister for Youth and Children Balambar Gahara says that government will introduce more strict requirements for recruitment agencies. These will include mandatory mental health assessments, counseling and thorough pre-departure preparation for migrant workers to ensure their safety and well-being while abroad. He emphasized that labor exporting companies must take greater responsibility in safeguarding Ugandans seeking employment overseas.
Export companies, we are not going to close our eyes as you do these illegal things. First of all, recruit, identify, recruit, train, mentor before you take these children. Let their contracts be clear. So as the Minister of Gender, we shall sit together with colleague minister in labor and the main minister to ensure we streamline these things, because the men of the people are suffering abroad are Ugandan youth. So the Ugandan youth should stop suffering. That's what we should do. They should stop suffering. Just like you have seen, those are the kind of problems we are resolving at gender every day. Some of these companies are contracted and some companies are trafficking. They are not contracted companies. So you find the companies taking these children are not contracted, but they smuggle them through Nairobi, sometimes through Juba, and they take them to work. So now we are going to tighten with our neighbors in Kenya. Young people going for work, we should verify their documentation and the company, so that we even do Interpol. Could find a joke has a mental problem, but no one knew whether she had a mental problem. So we need to do medical examination of our exports, of the young people who are going to work sometimes. And then also we need to guide them and counsel them before they go out. And even tell them the laws of Arab countries that for them they kill you. If you have a problem of murder, you've murdered somebody, tit for tat. So young people, stand warned. Ajoko's example should be a learning example. As Minister of Gender and Minister of Foreign Affairs and Government, we shall do what we can, but we cannot compel another country to amend its law to fit our one person who carelessly and rudely, in a evolic manner, barbaric manner, murdered a boss when she was sleeping.
Ministry of Education and Sports has urged institutions of higher learning to strengthen their quality assurance systems and maintain high academic standards to enable students meet social expectations. While presiding over Day 2 of the Makerere University's 76th graduation ceremony, State Minister for Primary Education, Dr. Joyce Moriku Kaduchu, emphasized that this will help transform universities into engines for national development.
Day 2 of Makerere's graduation saw students from the College of Health Sciences, Natural Sciences, Veterinary Medicine, Animal Resources and Biosecurity, and the School of Public Health graduate with degrees, masters, and PhDs.
We have prioritized transformation of our universities into factories of national development and solution-driven knowledge production.
Have an eye for what opportunities exist in your country and the communities that you can take advantage of to find viable activities in which you can engage for a living.
Makerere University is determined to improve facilities in these science schools through various innovations, including the establishment of a Science, Technology and Innovation Center.
That center will be producing at least 100 companies every year, so that many of our students leave the university with their own companies and create jobs.
Professor Maggie Chigozi urged graduates to challenge themselves to acquire skills, knowledge and innovativeness across various sectors in the economy.
You've already got your degree. Use short courses this time, workshops, mentors and hands-on roles to build real experience quickly.
The university continues to intensify the training and production of PhD graduates to promote research and innovation.
Research is expensive. Research needs money. And maybe the government should come in and we have ourselves funding our research. Because yes, we are doing a lot of research. Sometimes we are funded by outsiders and we are attending to the interests of outsiders because it's their money.
Meanwhile, the Makerere University Convocation has today launched its graduation luncheon to celebrate excellence and inspire impact. Starting with science graduates, the luncheon focused on recognizing 30 top-performing students out of the 76th graduation cohort. The State Minister for Youth and Children Affairs, Balamba Rugahara, reaffirmed the government's commitment to nurturing talent, supporting research, and creating opportunities for impact.
Look at Uganda National Development Plan 4. One of the key areas of focus is human capital development. We are aiming to improve the number of skilled workers, drive innovation, boost productivity across sectors.
East African Community member states have developed harmonized guidelines for pesticide risk assessment for both human health and the environment. The Commissioner for Crop Inspection and Certification in the Ministry of Agriculture, Dr. Paul Mwambu, points out that guidelines are aligned with the Pesticides Control Act of 2007.
Despite the fact that pesticides play a critical role in plant protection, their excessive use can pose risks to human health and the environment. Now, the East African Community member states have developed harmonized guidelines for pesticide risk assessment for both human health and the environment. The Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries has engaged different experts in health and environment to review the East African Community Guidance document for human health risk assessment for pest control products.
So use of these chemicals, judicious use of these chemicals, using them in accordance with the instructions on the label, can increase and enhance food production and productivity to ensure that people don't go hungry. But in the process of using these chemicals, sometimes issues arise. One, if the dosage used is very high, dosage by the farmer, or the time from the last time the farmer sprays to the time they harvest the product, if it is not adequate, if you don't observe what we call the pre-harvest interval, sometimes there's a residue of this molecule in the food.
Those dealing in pesticides are optimistic that the guidelines will help to create more awareness about proper use of crop protection products.
And this is actually very important for us because we deal in agricultural chemicals or pesticides, and we know that they have a lot of toxicity to human beings, to the environment, and also to aquatic life. So it's extremely important to understand the guidelines and the risk that is involved, so that as we are handling them, as we are talking to the farmers, as we are guiding the farmers, we are able to tell them exactly how to handle the safe use of the pesticides and how dangerous they are to human health, to aquatic life, and also to the environment, so that they can use them better.
Creating awareness about pesticides is crucial for mitigating their harmful effects on the human health, the environment, and agricultural sustainability. Adia Nakote, UBC.
We thank you so much for watching. Let's take a short break.
So, Muchala.
Yes, Daddy.
You know the children are going back to school and things are a bit tight. Huh? For now, why don't you take half of the fees to junior school, and for the school van contribution, we shall pay later. Huh?
Daddy, why don't we pay using MTN Momo, where we stand a chance of winning school fees for a whole year and more? By the way, you can also apply for a school fees loan, and also participating schools can win a school van.
That's right! Win school fees for a whole year and more. Get Momo goodies and a school van for participating schools. You can also apply for a school fees loan. Simply dial *165*80# or use the Momo app. Across Tilenga's host communities, families are accessing transformative opportunities. Youth are gaining practical skills that lead to employment. Farmers are getting improved yields and stepping into profitable value chains. Local businesses are joining supply networks once considered beyond reach. Women are accessing programs that open new opportunities and strengthen their voices and well-being. Families are benefiting from improved infrastructure that makes access to essential services easier, faster, and more affordable. Communities are shaping decisions, ensuring development reflects their needs. This is progress you can see, feel, and live every day. It is real shared value, where communities do not simply live near development, but experience it in their lives. And it's about growing together and building a future rooted in sustainable development.
UBC News Tonight. Welcome back from that short commercial break. Medical experts and researchers from the University of Switzerland, in partnership with Makerere University School of Medicine, have warned the public against the dangers of destroying traditional medicinal herbs. Speaking at the launch of a mobile museum to enhance the preservation of traditional medicine, Dr. James Tumusime appealed to the public to conserve the environment in the interest of protecting the adverse extinction of traditional medicine, whose efficacy has been tested towards curing many of the tropical diseases. Tumusime made the appeal at the Igongo Culture Center in Mbarara City.
Igongo Cultural Institute Mbarara, in partnership with the Botanical Garden of the University of Zurich, Switzerland, Makerere University, Mamita Technical Institute Mbarara, Uganda National Museum, and others have launched a mobile museum to sensitize the community about the use of traditional medicine. The chairperson of Igongo Cultural Institute, Dr. James Tumusime, explains how the mobile museum is going to work to benefit the general public.
That information which we are making available in these vehicles which are going to tour the whole country. There are two vehicles. One is based in Kampala with Uganda National Museum, and the second one is this one, which is for Western Uganda, based at Igongo.
Dr. Tumusime called upon Ugandans to conserve the environment, citing the contribution traditional medicine plays in curing many of the tropical diseases.
To teach people to utilize their own materials instead of looking at India and Europe and America. They can utilize these materials here. Secondly, to preserve, conserve the environment from where these plants grow so that we can keep using them. Three, we collaborate with researchers.
He appealed to dons in institutions of higher learning to teach their learners the importance of using traditional medicine.
Conserve the environment, utilize what is available, innovate, and turn them into useful products. So it goes, you encourage the young people, the teachers, to learn to utilize the materials around them.
Professor Mauda Kamatenesi, a researcher and director, Mamita Institute, says traditional medicine over the years has been tested in curing many of the tropical diseases.
We have moved in several places, we have seen several people, and I can assure you traditional medicine is global. The only difference is that the developed world, they have used their traditional medicine in a manner that they have professionalized it to the level that it is well documented, it is practiced in historic buildings, but they also have shrines there. They also worship. They also take traditional medicine as very important, but they are also professionals who have gone to monks.
Government secondary schools in Rukunjiri are registering a sharp increase in student enrollment, a trend education leaders attribute to a successful implementation of the new lower secondary curriculum.
At Chamakanda Secondary School, one of the historic church-founded government schools in the district, student numbers have more than doubled in the past 3 years, raising concern over limited infrastructure. School administrators say the rising number reflects renewed public confidence in government institutions following continuous performance under the new curriculum. According to the head teacher, David Biamukama, enrollment has grown from 500 students in 2023 to 1,200 this year. Biamukama, however, notes that since the school's inception, it has never received government infrastructure support. He warns that the growing enrollment could lead to congestion and negatively affect learning conditions if urgent intervention isn't made.
Shortly, we are going to have a challenge of classrooms. So it is our wish to the Ministry of Education and Sports that Chamakanda Senior Secondary School can be considered as they allocate, so that really we can have some buildings put up by the ministry, classrooms, a main hall. You can imagine a school celebrating 40 years, like we did in 2024, that up to now they don't have a library, they don't have a main hall, that a child gets food from the kitchen and sits on their bed.
For instance, we have started the multi-purpose block that is under construction, as you can see, and this needs a lot of funding, which parents may not afford at this time. So that's why we call upon everybody who can come and help the school.
Meanwhile, in neighboring Shema district, private schools are also acknowledging the impact of the new curriculum. At Roadside High School, the director, Rhoda Komugisha, says the curriculum has shifted focus towards practical skills and hands-on learning, making students more self-reliant.
We begin registering our students in Senior 3. They do a lot of project work. For example, they made the charcoal. We used the charcoal. They have been making yogurt. They have been making liquid soap, which we are even using right now in our bathrooms and toilets. But in the old curriculum, we were not doing a lot of such activities, such practicals. So it is now hands-on. We are supporting even the community around.
She adds that while government schools are experiencing increased enrollment, private institutions continue to play a critical role in providing affordable education and should also receive government support.
The International Organization for Migration has concluded a 3-year regional project aimed at countering organized transitional crime on Lake Victoria. Implemented in partnership with Uganda's Directorate of Citizenship and Immigration Control and other security agencies, the initiative has strengthened border management, enhanced regional coordination, and improved community engagement along Uganda's lake borders.
Shared by Uganda, Kenya and Tanzania, communities surrounding Lake Victoria depend on it for fishing, trade and transport. But its vast waters have been exploited by criminal networks.
It's encroached on. Because by law, I think you're supposed to settle 200 meters away from the water catchment area. But look at where we are. I told you there, it's used as a means of transport across to Tanzania, to other sub-counties. We use boats. Some of these boats don't meet the standard.
To address these threats, the International Organization for Migration partnered with Uganda's Directorate of Citizenship and Immigration Control to implement a 3-year project focused on strengthening border governance and regional cooperation.
Was to coordinate, to know who is where and doing what. The second objective was to equip our officers working on the lake. Incidentally, this project, though led by the National Citizenship and Immigration Control, it has brought together police, fisheries, Ministry of Works, and other players, security people, so we have been coordinating.
At Port Bell, one of Uganda's key inland ports, immigration officials say the project has improved infrastructure, enhanced surveillance,
and strengthened interagency collaboration.
So much IOM for the infrastructure they have given us to facilitate us further in endeavoring to look after this sport. Like we have got a containerized office, air conditioned, actually very good in the seat. We have got a pickup, which is in the coming, so that headquarters, I think we have a driver or something like that.
Officials say one of the project's key achievements has been improved data capture for passengers and crew members, helping authorities monitor cross-border movement more effectively. Modern maritime transport has also strengthened regulated trade across the lake, with cargo vessels connecting Uganda to ports in Kenya and Tanzania.
We comply with the ISPS code. ISPS code is the code related to international ship and the port security facility. So we apply that code here. What we do, we have our security camera here. So you can see, we see people within the ship and outside surroundings. So we can manage to know that person, and even we can watch as you approach whether the intention, which one, even pilots. So we can manage to see through there. That's one of the things. But again, now as whoever is here, we are normally 3 people: captain, helmsman or quartermaster, but also with a person called lookout.
At Kasense,
people from West Nile or residents in West Nile have been challenged to work hard in order to overcome poverty, especially in their households. This was during the launch of Musevenomics in Arua City.
Musevenomics is a new economic term in Uganda that has redefined trends in Uganda's economy from the failed economy of colonial times through frequent changes of governments between 1979 till 1986 to where the country is today. Operating on 7 pillars that includes inclusivity, creativity, and innovations, the ideology of Musevenomics embeds the parish development model as one of the ways to improve Uganda's economy through parish circles. Dr. Edward Katende, the Executive Director of Uganda Development Forum, explains.
The policies, the philosophy that transformed our economy from a failed state in 1986 to one of Africa's most promising economies today. So that package of philosophy and policies put together is a study we have termed Musevenomics. It was put together by those economists of WSC, and we looked across the world to see where else great leaders had come up with economic philosophies that saved their economies.
Wadisa Munyakwa, the mayor of Arua City, attributes ever-increasing poverty among the people of West Nile to laxity by leaders on mindset change, especially among the young people. He says acts of many leaders have frustrated the president's efforts in poverty alleviation moves among Ugandans.
Factor for poverty is the negative mindset. The efforts President Museveni and the government is making are good, but these efforts are going to waste because of the poor mindset. Many people have abused the PDM money. Azia manidia Museveni nionzi inara mvele yodori lea maku adu amangamani yodi yeye amadia manono di deba uninduo dei ini mazoria.
Leaders of West Nile have continued to demand for better roads, railway, and air transport in order to achieve success of Musevenomics. Bakoko Bakor, the special advisor to the chief coordinator of Operation Wealth Creation, challenged the Uganda National Planning Authority to consider materialization of major infrastructures in West Nile so that the sub-region will not lag behind in the process of Musevenomics.
I would imagine these are some of the issues you should embed into this plan, because it's very critical for West Nile if we must develop. So that issues of the referral hospital, issues of the airport, issues of all these roads, and that was the reason West Nile really voted a lot for the president, because we realized that If we did, we can negotiate with.
Business news tonight. Millions of Ugandans rely on mobile payments, online banking and real-time transfers every day. Equity Bank Uganda has now moved its core banking data to a local facility in Kampala, a step officials say could affect service reliability and data security for customers.
For years, much of the infrastructure behind everyday banking, from mobile transactions to loan processing, was hosted outside Uganda.
This bank has been having its data center or data requirements outsourced from Nairobi. Now, when something's outside your boundaries, you may not have much control. By coming to this center, Axio Center, to locate it here in Uganda and particularly in Namamve, is enhancing the ownership of this data and therefore increases our sovereignty we have on our data. Issues of cyber security risks are becoming common, but the challenge is now with all players to make sure that they have in place systems that are aimed at mitigating the risks against cyber security.
Equity Bank Uganda has completed a 7-year migration of its core systems to a Tier 3 data center in Namamve, operated by Rixio Data Center.
Digital infrastructure of Africa is not built somewhere else and then delivered here. It needs to be built here. And on infrastructure that's designed for our markets. That's why I made a point out of saying the Rixio group actually can disappear. This data center will not stop. It's an independent data center that has support from others. And that's very, very important. It's completely locally anchored.
The migration follows a regulatory requirement from the Bank of Uganda that mandates sensitive financial data be stored within the country.
Right now, you can imagine when you have data processing in country, it means you process data faster. When you have data in country, it means that our teams have more control. It means that we can innovate faster. So for a lot of, as you know, Equity Bank, we're one of the most innovative banks in this market. We are one of the most digitally advanced banks in this market. We have one of the widest digital infrastructure in this market. Our distribution today is one of the widest in terms of agency network. All these are running on rails of technology and data. And therefore, hosting data in country is very, very vital for us not only to process transactions faster, but also to transact more reliably. And also, very, very importantly, we have more control.
During the financial switch, there was a short service interruption affecting some customers. Bank officials say it was necessary to stabilize the systems. For UBC News, I am Sudat Kaye.
Are you looking for a home away from home? Then this is the place for you. My name is Chini Kaji, and welcome to Hotel Le Confidential.
With 84 comfortable rooms where you can relax and feel safe. Each room has a lovely view of green vegetation, Wi-Fi, air conditioning, and a tasty breakfast.
Children can have fun at our kids' water park and our kids' play area. You can also enjoy our world-class health club, spa, sauna, gym, boutique, and sky blue swimming pool.
Thank you for choosing Hotel Le Confidential, where every stay is unforgettable. Come and stay in comfort, right at home, today, tomorrow, and always.
Prime Minister of the Japadola Cultural Institution, Jago Richard Obo, has invited the public to participate in the Centennial Celebration Games, marking 100 years of the reign of Kwara Dola, His Majesty Moses Stephen War. Speaking at the cultural offices in Tororo, Obo said that the games will feature football, netball, and athletics as part of activities honoring the monarch's legacy. He also confirmed that President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni is expected to attend as chief guest at the climax of the centennial celebrations this Saturday.
Of His Royal Highness the Kwaradola Moses Stephen Owori, who we are celebrating the 100-year milestone God has blessed him with. We have organized a number of events to celebrate. The guest of honor will be His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni.
Yes, and that brings us to the end of all we had for you tonight. As you know, on Wednesday, we have Behind the Headlines at exactly 10 p.m. So as Newsroom, we close it here. Thanking you so much for watching. My name is Michael Jordan Lukomwa. With Elizabeth Nakakoni and the whole team, wish you the best of the night. Do not miss Behind the Headlines.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Kuba mwaka fana nyinga gwali eyo gwa wangu de mwaka mulamba
bulire sanyu linjo kubanga na wangu de school fees wo mwanange era nina sanyu kubanga sigenda sasula school fees
omwaka
mulamba era ne bazanya ba MTN momo katonda abongere omukisa
as long